So why did I sell the Dell XPS 15 that I had in favor of a MacBook? This one right here specifically. Well, let's talk about that. The more I got into video editing and whatnot, Premiere Pro is what I was using on the Dell. Great piece of software, but it was a little much for what I needed, and I got tired of paying the $22 and change with tax that the subscription was per month. It's not one of those programs like Final Cut where you just buy it once and you own it forever and you get all the updates, unfortunately. Especially once I found out that I qualified for Apple's education pricing. I could get their Pro Apps bundle, which has Final Cut and Motion, Logic, and a couple other things. I will list them over here for $199 with tax. You know, tax on top of that is like $220 something. That's a deal for any kind of Apple product. If you know Apple's pricing structure, that is a heck of a deal. So that was one reason. The second reason, aside from, for me, I've found that Apple computers and products, they're just, I don't want to say pleasurable to use, but they're easy to use. For the most part, everything's fairly intuitive, and there's only a couple things I miss about the Android phone I had as compared to the new iPhone XS Max that I got. Great phone here. But the more I played around with Final Cut, figured out some of the features and ease of use things that it has contained within it, and it just does great. And before you go screaming down in the comments section, yes, I do realize that Apple, like any company, they're not perfect. They make mistakes, they have shortcomings, but for me personally, what I need in a phone, laptop, tablet, they do those things the best for me. Now back to your regularly scheduled video. On this computer here, this 2015 MacBook Pro 13-inch, it's a dual-core processor, has 8 gigs of RAM. It will chew through 1080p footage on Final Cut like butter. With Adobe, on the Dell that I had, with 7th gen i7 processor, quad-core, this is a dual-core, and no dedicated graphics card on this. The Dell had an NVIDIA GTX 1050. Even with all that, I mean, sometimes there were still many times that it would bog down where it shouldn't with those specs. And that goes on to just a little snippet of another topic that we'll talk about in another video at a later date. The iPhone XS Max here probably has the best battery life of any phone I've ever had. And the last phone I had was a Note 8. But iOS, Mac OS, it's just a cleaner operating system. It doesn't have all that extra crap on it like Windows, Android, especially the Galaxy phones with Android, and then the Samsung shell laid over top of that. The tech nerds will know what I'm talking about. It's not a physical shell. So that's basically in a nutshell why I sold the Dell XPS, and figured out, or well, realized firsthand, just how fast Windows-based laptops lose their value. This thing here, 4 years old, it was still $650. That's not much less than I was able to get for the Dell, and I had it for sale for quite some time. It's just not a big market for them. Everybody wants the latest and greatest because that's the only thing that will run right. Whereas these, they'll keep on running. So without going into too much fanboyism for Apple, we'll talk more about that at a later date. I'd planned on releasing a week-long series of videos, but time constraints just didn't allow that. So I'm releasing this one, and we'll do more Apple tech videos at a future date. And maybe talk about this guy a little bit. I mean, what's an Apple fanboy without the Steve Jobs book? And I really only bought this for the video. I bought it used at a great value. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more. And as my friend Michael Jordan of NTL Vlogs and fellow Apple fanboy, I guess you could call him too, it's never too late to switch to Mac.